Kevin the Trailblazer Holland has developed himself into one of the UFC's biggest stars. Holland became, through both his personality and fighting style, one of the most interesting fighters within the promotion. Capable of ending the fight at any instant, Holland had everyone on alert.
Has him down. He's got a Darce. He's got a Darce. Looking for the tap out.
Oh, that's in deep.
That is indeed. There's
Though, how did Kevin Holland break into the UFC? With a background in Kung Fu, Holland's electrifying record got him a bout in the Contender Series. Holland was cruising towards a victory. However, he would never stop talking.
fires a knee there as he closes in, and then he lets Santiago know about it. Combination lands with the right and continues to flap.
While quite unorthodox, he was a fun fighter to watch.
As effectively as he could.
Oh, big left. That looked to connect across the face of Will Santiago.
Holland would always be either conversing with his corner or opponent.
50 seconds. No. 50 seconds.
Hear the corner say 50 seconds, letting us all know.
He talks back to his corner and says, I know. Oh, nice flying knee there. Just connected.
Holland had done enough to secure a win. However, would he secure a contract? What would be the decision? At the end of the day, Dana wouldn't award him with the ticket. However, it wasn't over.
And I said, let's call some contender guys in that we liked. They all turned down the fight. I said, call Big Mouth. I want to see if Big Mouth takes this fight.
After light heavyweight Thiago Santos' opponent pulled out, no one wanted a piece of Moretta. Well, one man did, and that man was Kevin Holland. While he didn't win, he showed professionalism, coming into a weight class above his only at the last minute. Holland showed that he could entertain as well. And he has collected 7 finishes since being signed.
Kevin just dragged on right back down.
Big brother treatment coming from Kevin Holland.
Stop!
In the year of 2020, Holland went on a tear, collecting 5 wins within the calendar year. Wins over solid competition like Jacare propelled him into the mainstream fan.
A lot lower than that. Kevin Holland double scream.
Destroying Joaquin Buckley, who had a lot of hype on his name around the same time.
With a man like Buckley.
Yeah. Holland sits him down, and Mark Smith is going to call it.
His first true test was against Derek Brunson, where he showed that he needed to improve his ground game. Holland showed that while he carried true power, he lacked the experience against higher-level opposition. Holland even attempted to gain advice from lightweight great Khabib Nurmagomedov.
But, be a major change, you come over here with the rest of the advice.
Holland unfortunately had his 5-fight winning streak snapped. His next matchup would be yet again a challenging one. While Holland did achieve some initial success,
when Holland's fighting good, he can do a lot of things.
Vettori used the same game plan as Brunson.
A guy like Kevin Holland, who's extremely hard to fight, and you're allowing the fight to happen.
Once more, Kevin showed deficiency on the ground.
Not only because you don't want to give top position, John, but also because
Vettori, who wasn't a premium wrestler, was taking down Holland at will.
Vettori with 3 takedowns thus far, his personal best in the UFC, trying to get a 4th here. Holland providing some resistance, but
once more, Holland was outclassed on the ground, and thus went winless in 2021. A bounce-back fight against Kyle Daukaus perhaps was what Holland needed. An accidental clash of heads would knock out Holland momentarily. Daukaus then found a submission on the already compromised Holland.
He's gonna put him to sleep. It's over. There's the tap.
The ref would then have a look at the tape to see what had happened. It would then be decided that the fight would be declared a no contest. This would be Holland's last fight at middleweight. His first welterweight bout would be against Cowboy Oliveira, a fighter that would make it a fun fight for fans. Holland got himself in trouble a couple times during the first round. Despite that, Holland seemed cool, calm, and collected. Holland would end the fight early in round 2.
That was a terrible position, and it's the fact that Oliveira got it.
Ending the fight with vicious elbows. Holland was back in the win column. In the midst of his comeback, Holland was also making the headlines for being a real-life superhero, disarming a gunman at a Houston restaurant. Holland's fun-loving nature propelled him further into the eyes of fans. Holland would now face Tim Means in Dallas for his second bout of 2022. Kevin Holland did a great job of hurting Means.
In this round.
Before securing a Bravo choke at the middle of the second round. It reminded fans why Holland had superhuman power. UFC 279 would be where controversy would strike the UFC and alter Holland's plans. Holland was originally planned to fight D-Rod at a catchweight of 180 pounds. However, after Khamzat Chimaev missed weight by 7.5 pounds for his fight against Nate Diaz, changes were made.
178.5.
178.5.
A backstage altercation between Holland and Chimaev the day before, canceling the presser, raised the tensions.
You're not about it, kid.
You're my bitch.
Chimaev would no longer be facing Nate Diaz, and now would be taking Kevin Holland in the co-main. Holland would have to face the boogeyman of the UFC on only a day's notice. Chimaev was stylistically a nightmare for Holland. Khamzat started the fight going immediately for Holland's legs. Chimaev was dominating Holland in the wrestling department.
A lot of wrestling. Tremendous amount of energy.
Chimaev would eventually submit Holland in the first round.
It looks like his right hand was breaking.
Chimaev disposes of Kevin Holland. How good is he?
On one day's notice, this was understandable. Holland would briefly retire from the sport before it was announced he'd fight Wonder Boy in Orlando. Stephen Thompson was the perfect matchup for Holland, a striker who hated wrestling as much as Holland. It was the ideal matchup. This bout would go down as one of the best of 2022. The first round was already electrifying.
Hands right up the middle.
Yeah, it's very reckless the way Kevin.
That's a big right now for Holland. And Wonderboy forced to cover up.
Holland carried the power early on. The Trailblazer had won round 1. Wonderboy was no joke and was always dangerous.
He's looping right now. Oh! Another one.
Yeah, but he blocks it every time. Tremendous reflexes. But look at Wonderboy, he's on fire.
Holland got a takedown in round 2, though he respected their no wrestling agreement. Both men were in an all-out brawl.
Yeah, he's tough.
He is as well, and he hasn't got a mark on his face, which is just wild. The defense, look at the defense.
Wonder Boy would land insane karate-style kicks.
To the third round, as you're taking shots, you might be like, you know what, in round 2, I might
Despite his older age, Wonderboy was not the one getting tired.
His facial expression when he takes these big right hands doesn't change.
Wonderboy would land everything at will.
Wonderboy we've ever seen inside the octagon. Wonderboy's in the zone now. He's having fun. He can't miss. He's got the speed. He's got the
another head kick.
Holland was in deep danger, and Wonderboy grew. Despite not being a wrestling-based fight, Holland was in for a schooling.
This will be the...
Holland would be unable to walk out of round 5, having his hand compromised. Fighting 4 times in 2022, Holland is one of the most active fighters in the roster. Holland now takes on Argentinian powerhouse Santiago Ponzinibbio. One thing is for sure, and that is that Kevin Holland will always be looking for a finish.